Davis. And now joined by middle of the day show host Mark Rodgers.
Yep, I'm flying through the air. This is not good.
The Drive is on 98.1 FM, WWLS, The Sports Animal, thesportsanimal.com, and the Sports Animal app. This is what's trending now on the Sports Animal.
All right, the Oklahoma City Thunder move ahead in their offseason. Summer League out of the way. Seemingly all their trades out of the way. In case of Wall extension next, perhaps. We will find out. And what's that mean for A.J. Mitchell and the rest of this team as we move forward? Can't wait to find out what that looks like. Countdown to football is on. SEC Media Day, Day 2 with Georgia, Auburn, Vanderbilt, and South Carolina. Countdown to the NFL is on with some teams already reporting to training camp. Other teams just around the corner. So really, really looking forward to all of that. With Mark Rodgers, who's down in Tampa. Mark is in today for Lander Chevy. I noticed a distinct lack of Monster energy in your broadcast yesterday. Need some of that.
There was no Monster. Yeah, no, there's no energy drinks here. But they do have, and right across from us, positioned very well. We have all of the Dr. Pepper, 7-Up, Sunkist, and ginger ale that you could ever hope for. So that's good news. Coffee.
That goes a ways.
Coffee and tea too.
I'm more of a coffee guy than a Monster guy anyway.
Hey, I noticed on the itinerary down there, not only are you guys getting a meal at lunchtime, but there's also a snack time, like at 3:30 in the afternoon or something like that. I that took me back to my kindergarten days. What was involved with the snack time yesterday?
Orange slices and apple juice.
Was it like Star Crunches or what was going on there, Mark?
Well, yesterday I did not tell Preston, but I snuck off into the snack room.
Oh, no.
And they had a buffet of what I believe is Sonic food. They had a root tot twist or something like that. I don't know. It was a tater tot inside a pretzel. And I said this to the Morning Animals this morning. I don't know what you mess with a tater tot for. I mean, it's the food from the gods. I mean, you put ketchup on it or cheese or whatever it is, and then you're just going down the road. So I didn't try it. They had some nuggets. I love nuggets. So I dipped some nuggets in. They had the Kinder's barbecue sauce, which I haven't really ever tried.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of that. And so I had a little chicken nugget snack yesterday before we went to, where did we go? Happy Harpoon.
Yeah, the Crab House.
Harry Harpoon's
By the way,
house.
this is how I find out that you snuck off and got Sonic without me.
That's true.
Do I even need to ask? Do I even want to know what the Crab House is?
It was a pretty big place. It's at the
Happy
convention
Harpoon?
center, and I was hoping for. I'm on a mission. We got some time left, so it's not a critical issue right now. But I was going to get some kind of seafood here in Tampa because we're right on the Gulf. I mean, we can look out the window and see where Tom Brady tossed the Super Bowl trophy from one boat to another, and Harry Harpoon. Coconut shrimp was, probably subpar compared to the landlocked shrimp that we get in Oklahoma City.
Wow, really? That's disappointing.
Yeah, so far it's not been the greatest of food trips, but we're gonna remedy that coming up.
Has anybody been caught chasing roosters all over Ybor City yet?
Hey, why didn't you tell me that you did some research on Ybor City and that there were roosters running around?
Yeah,
I told Preston that. You didn't tell me.
I just happened to come across that on Saturday while I was doing my show. There's lots of interesting facts around Tampa. I guess Tampa, the craft beer industry is big down there. I cannot believe you guys didn't know that before you went.
It was a 4:00 morning today. I mean, there were 4 chickens howling.
If you see anybody,
yesterday I didn't hear any, but today they were very loud. And then one buzz bombed us coming out of it was in the trash bin right by our Airbnb. He was digging around in there for some prime stuff.
Ambush. You never know.
Yeah.
You heard the ultimate story about breaking up a cockfighting event in Hawaii, right? I mean, you might need to be on the lookout for anything like that.
In his last vacation?
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
Oh, in the he was
in
talking
the bathroom.
to the kids in the bathroom? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't
trying
know
to help out the old man.
I didn't know what that was about. So
yeah, should be more specific, I guess. I did see Preston tweet yesterday that the Wi-Fi was not working very well, but the air conditioning was working very well. I think if I have to have one or the other, it'd probably be what you got going.
Yeah, Preston has been 100% lathered up the entire time he's been down here. He said it's been a little too humid for him. So the air conditioner is working good. I completely agree. I'd rather have air conditioning than Wi-Fi any day. I'm using the Wi-Fi off my hotspot on my phone. No troubles whatsoever. So, and we are plugged into the real internet here, so we should have a good broadcast.
What about the party? What about the party situation? What's that look like so far?
Okay. Well, we went to a party last night. We went to a party right across the street here at Harbor Island is what they call it. They have a conglomerate of fancy restaurants. So we went to, what was the name of the first place?
It was American Social, is the SEC Media Welcome Party.
SEC welcoming party. They had mini helmets on the table. Preston and I were looking to get some of those on a 5-finger discount, but they rapidly came around and picked all those up. They had fireworks. It lasted a good 4 minutes with a 45-second finale that was spectacular. Nothing like that at Big 12 Media Days. And then we went to a place next door where it was, I don't know what was going on in there. It was like they were only allowing females in there, but we snuck in before. So it was an interesting scene.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Monday night in Tampa was not as spectacular as Sunday, which we were told Ybor City is Sunday is the day to go. But we got in here too late for any of those festivities.
Maybe potentially for the best. By the way, I need to tell people they're on YouTube. If you want to wave to YouTube, just search up WWLS Sports Animal, and you'll see Mark and any guests that they have along today. Did a great job yesterday with all of those interviews. Roger Denny, the AD, the GM, Jim Nagy, Mateer, Taylor Wine came along, and Eddie Pierre-Louis. I was really, really impressed with all those guys, Mark, and not surprised that I am impressed with those guys. EPL though is the interesting one to me because he's a younger guy. I know that he's from there, but you can listen whenever he is talking and understand why Brent trusted him to represent that team.
I think so, and he's a big piece of the equation on the offensive line. And Brent also said that he had it hasn't been the easiest road for him, that he wasn't quite polished when he came in. And I thought EPL went through some of those steps that he was talking about, fundamentals of offensive line play and the things that he needed to do. It's kind of been ingrained into him. And this is a season, I think, for Bill Beanbo to shine. You know, they have not recruited, I think, as well in the portal. They've had some injuries that I don't think you can always, even if it's 2 or 3 years in a row, you can't really blame coaching for injuries. Those are just things that kind of happen. So I think that offensive line has a chance to shine this year with some guys that they've paid money to and that were highly recruited players.
And that'd be big because I know people have a lot of trust in Beatonbow, as I do too. Even if guys don't start off the season well, typically they do round into form under Bill Beatonbow. As far as the offensive line goes, what is a good, you think, and you can just ballpark this, it could be arbitrary, it doesn't need to be exact. What's a good yards per carry? Because they rushed for 3.5 yards per carry last season. That is not going to get it done.
4.5 would be elite. I think 4 is really good. You add the tight ends into the mix too, and I think that also helps the offensive line. That you get those 3 tight ends in there that can block. It can be a threat, multiple formations. So I thought some of the more interesting things that we heard yesterday was reading between the lines of what Jim Nagy was saying, that it seemed like he was saying that, that really there was a change in offensive philosophy that was kind of put on Ben Arbuckle. Kevin Wilson, who's got a ton of experience and has been an incredibly successful offensive coach throughout most of his career, has taken over a lot. And I think maybe he's taken over more than probably they've let on, and so we will see. We'll see more running from this team.
I think there's a really good chance, and I'm not even basing this on pass catching hardly at all. There's a really good chance that tight end room will be the best improved unit from last year to this year. We'll see. It's talking season. I don't want to go too far, but it seems like the type of guys they got. The Jaron Kanek experience was fun last year, especially early as opposed to later. He had no chance to stand in front of some of these edge rushers in the SEC.
None. And I don't think that they're expecting the tight ends to block the edge rushers, but they're expecting them maybe to help. And formationally, you can do some different things. And Kevin Wilson knows all of that. So, but you're dead on the running game. I mean, if the offense doesn't have a lot of depth, they don't have a lot of depth at running back. They don't have a lot of depth on the offensive line. But if they can stay healthy, they should be pretty good.
What do you think about the receiving core? Satania, zero questions about him. Would love to have known more about Harris and Livingston. I know that they were hurt, but I'm interested in those guys. Livingston, he's a fast guy. He's a big target too. That receiver room has really let me down the last couple of years. What do you think about them?
Yeah, I mean, and injuries have been a big part of that. Mateer spoke really highly of Trell Harris, but he has just kind of been cleared for full, workouts and running. So I think Trell Harris should be pretty good. Parker Livingston started off great at Texas last year and then kind of faded down the stretch. But Oklahoma has had a bunch of little guys, no disrespect to them.
Yeah.
But they have not had big, tall receivers. So I think that gives them another threat there. And a couple of receivers that one yesterday that could have been here and one that could have been here today. Jaden Gibson is at South Carolina, and you have Nick Anderson at Kentucky, a couple of guys that have been in the OU wide receiving room in the past. So I think that position should be good, and it will be better if they can run the ball at 4 yards a carry.
I think everything will just feel so much easier if you can actually be a threat to run the ball. But I heard you, was it you talking? It may have been somebody else, but there's some really good teams in college football. I think it was you the last couple of seasons, Alabama, Texas, couple of them that have not run the ball extremely well.
No, they have not. Alabama really didn't run it well last year, so they've got some questions to answer on that. Georgia started off slow last year, and they finished strong. And after Georgia's here today, after kind of hearing from Kirby Smart, which we'll hear a little bit more from today, I think Georgia's the team to beat. I think they've separated themselves really a little bit from everybody else. The way that they played last year, the way that they ran the football, they've got an experienced quarterback in Gunnar Stockton. And I think that their schedule is much, much different than OU's. Their third toughest game in conference is at Ole Miss, which I don't think is a hornet's nest of a game. They've got Oklahoma at home. That's, I don't know, either their toughest or second toughest game. They've got to go to Alabama, and they've got some revenge on that game for what happened early last season. So I would pick Georgia to win the league. We got to fill out our ballots this afternoon that they're going to send us in, and I would think that they end up distancing themselves from Texas in that poll.
And that would be their third straight title, is that right?
They've won – Kirby Smart's won double-digit games the last 10 years with the exception of COVID when they only played 10.
Insane. I mean, the level, and they've taken a step back in some regards to their talent, just in terms of like they're not being able to stack up guys 3 deep that are going to be like day one picks in a couple of years. They've lost some of those guys and have still been able to have a ton of success there. So I would think it would have to be Georgia, whether you're picking them based on their schedule, or if you're just trying to do power rankings. I think they need to lead the league. I think Texas is right there too, though.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Texas is absolutely right there. The one thing about Georgia that's kind of funny is that, again, they started off slow running the football, and then they haven't got after the quarterback. Like they don't put a lot of pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. They're good against the run, but they haven't racked up sack totals like they did when they were sending defensive linemen to the NFL, 3 or 4 of them in the first 2 rounds. So I think that, it's hard to keep those type of players just coming year after year after year after year on a decade-long run like they're on. So I think that's going to be a key for them too, because Texas has one of the best edge players in the conference in Colin Simmons.
It's pretty amazing. There's a couple other SEC teams I want to ask you about. LSU, what should I expect from them this season?
Well, we have to wait till Thursday to talk to Lane. I don't think he's a miracle worker. I think he can be a really good coach, but I think all of the attention that he creates, he's good at quarterback. He's got a good reputation, but I don't think that can just take over at year one at LSU. I like Sam Leavitt as a quarterback, but he got hurt last year.
Yeah.
And I don't expect them to be in the playoff picture.
I could see them starting off extremely strongly too. Like they got Clemson, first game of the season. That is in Baton Rouge. They've got an early game against Ole Miss, at Ole Miss. They play A&M. Like, they could start off the season fairly well, and I could see that thing falling apart down the stretch based on – you're right. It's difficult to change that inconsistency one year from the next.
We talked so much about that game last year, the opening game, Battle of the Death Valleys, and you had Brian Kelly talking smack and all that kind of stuff. That game is way under the radar right now. I mean,
Yep.
And it's his debut. Maybe Clemson can kind of come in there under the radar and spoil that. But that game at Ole Miss will be a holy war. I mean, I would expect that the Ole Miss students show up early for that one, and
that's early in the year too, isn't it? Week 3, week 4,
week 3, yeah. Big game.
That's going to be awesome.
So
September the 19th.
Amazing.
I'd be surprised if LSU jumps in the mix this year. I mean, of teams that kind of are outside the top 3 or 4, I do like Tennessee. I think that they made some changes, bringing in Jim Knowles on defense and some transfers from Penn State. I think that they've got a chance to. They've got Texas. Tennessee and Texas have only played 3 times. The last time they played was in 1968 Cotton Bowl. So Tennessee will be fired up for that SEC opener against Texas.
I don't hardly hear anybody talk about Tennessee. And maybe it's just that most people think they're going to be a mid-table SEC team, but I hardly hear anything about them. But interested to hear people talk.
Nice soccer usage there. It was impressive.
Mid-table. Yeah, thank you. Or F1, which I've been watching that Netflix show, which is great. Alabama, I mean, some high highs and some terrible losses for Kalen DeBoer so far.
I don't get their preseason expectations. Got to figure out how to run the ball. It's just a turnover between, the Nick Saban roster to the Kellen DeBoer roster, and maybe Kellen DeBoer is a great coach, but he's under extreme pressure. I saw that Roll Tide Willie quit drinking beer. That ought to tell you what the state of things are in Alabama. I mean, they're desperate for a winner.
That's not true. What if he becomes like really professorial all of a sudden? Really well spoken. Now that he's not drinking beer.
It's a good question.
That'd be really, really strange. I'm shocked hearing that.
We got Marty and McGee filming a promo right here in front of us, and you'd think that Trump had come in. But we're going to talk with Ryan McGee coming up a little later on in the show.
Awesome. Yeah. Guys in black suits and sunglasses around.
Yeah.
I bet.
I mean, a lot of great lighting. Just
and great hair, too.
Yeah.
Especially for Marty, I would say. All right, Mark is in today for Landers Chevrolet. When we return, what possibly could Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs have in common with the OKC Thunder? We'll tell you, but what's going on with Landers Chevy?
Let me tell you a little bit about Landers Chevrolet. They've got some great specials going on right now. I appreciate them sponsoring us today. 2026 Silverado 1500 LT. You can take up to $12,250 off and or pay $6,250 below MSRP and no interest for 5 years. No interest for 5 years. That's ridiculous. 2027 Equinox, $2,500 off MSRP, no interest for 3 years. Some of the great deals going on. Landers Chevrolet Norman.com, 1221 Ed Noble Parkway. Great new and used selection right now. So go check them out on Ed Noble Parkway.
Quick timeout. Be right back on the Animal.
From college football to fun.
Driving the sports animal. Mark's down in Tampa. In today for Lander Chevy in Norman. I saw a video of Roll Tide Willie during the break, Mark, and he looks like he is like 40 years old. He has aged in reverse since he quit drinking beer.
I wasn't lying. I don't. Is he back? Is he back drinking beer again? I don't know.
He said he was off the wagon, which I took to mean that you started drinking again. But I think off the wagon to him was quitting drinking. It was like reversed for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't speak his language all of the time, but that, hey, whatever you need to do, we support it.
That's almost impossible.
Less for him,
Not
more
for
for us.
Willie. I mean, somebody did ask if he started drinking vodka. Just because you quit beer doesn't mean you picked up something else.
Yeah, if they lose to Florida State at home, he'll be back on it, I think.
Yeah, probably so. Well, shout out to Roll Tide Willie. This is the drive on the sports animal. The Oklahoma City Thunder came up at SEC Media Days. You might be wondering, why did that happen? Barry Trammell is asking the question here, and the head coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, Kirby Smart, is the one responding.
They'll have my hide in Oklahoma if I don't expound on the Thunder stuff. 2 questions. How does a football coach at Georgia have time to even know what somebody like the Thunder's doing? Number 2, are there similarities in that you had a powerhouse going, sort of the college football was hit with a rampant change 3 or 4 years ago. You've stayed great, but your dominance has slipped just because of so much parity. How difficult is it to maintain what you want to do with the changing landscape of what's going on with parity? Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, all kinds of new, Indiana, all kinds of new people are able to compete at a very high level.
I think it's great for the sport. I think having everybody competitive and having everybody to have more guys can be invited to the party and get to the party, mainly through the portal in a lot of ways. Because, let's be honest, there's some footprints in some states that don't support their program through their own state. They have to go find other ways to do it, right? They've got to be great in the portal. They've got to be able to recruit nationally. And we're very fortunate in our state that we can still stay within our footprint. But each team that finds a way, it seems to be, okay, they did it through age. Okay, they did it through quarterback play. They did it. Everybody finds a way to what's their niche. And that makes the stories more interesting for you guys, right? It's not a one-team dominant program. It's really everybody. And then to your question about the Oklahoma City Thunder and the ability we study successful programs all the time. So if you're not studying how other people are doing it and you're just fixated on your own team and your own roster, I think you're missing out. We're always trying to grow in our program. We don't want to stay the same. So you need to study how other people are doing it and maybe the ways they're doing it and creating roles for players. It's very unique what the Thunder was doing, especially when they won the championship, in terms of leading in so many categories, but most importantly, selflessness. And that's what we try to emulate.
Kirby Smart, head coach of the Bulldogs. Mark, you brought that to our attention earlier. What was your reaction to
that? He had mentioned the Thunder before Tram. Tram alluded to that and is saying, I'll have my hide if I don't follow up on this. Just look at the way that the Thunder organization has been run, and they've had to adapt to certain rules and situations that we've seen with salary cap and all of that. So I think it is a good model to study. Tram walked by a little earlier. He was enamored with Kirby Smart, who seemed to have a lot of enthusiasm today. And they were down last year. They dodged a bullet at Tennessee early on in the season after being surprised by Alabama. They built to a crescendo at the end of the year. So I think that's a team, like we said, I would pick them to win the league. So I think they're going to be really good.
Nope, I think I would as well. In those sorts of things, I think transcend sport, transcend anything. Everybody's got to know their roles. You got to know what you're doing. Role definition is incredibly important. Playing without agenda in this era of college football, I would imagine that is more difficult than ever with how transactional it is. And so trying to rein that in, that culture word that is so cliche and overused, I think is incredibly important. So what he's speaking to there makes some sense to me. Were you able to listen to the Kentucky head coach Will Stein speak yesterday? 'Cause we got some audio from him.
I did not hear it live. I got to hear Josh on the podium yesterday, but that's going on just right across the way from us here in a ballroom. And so no, I did not hear it live, but I wish I had. That was good stuff.
Once upon a time, there was a head coach who went to a basketball school and said, "I win, Google me." And then he went and did just that and won a national championship. That was Kurt Signetti. So maybe Will Stein going to a basketball school also fashions himself that kind of head coach. But here was his interesting response yesterday.
Here because you can believe you can win here. Why is that? Kentucky historically has fought against a narrative, against perception. Why do you think you can win big here?
This is going to sound like really, I think because of me, to be honest. Because of me. I think I know what it takes. I've seen it at the highest levels. I know what it takes to recruit at this level. And you just got to believe, man. You just got to put the ball down and play. There's not really else to be said. Is it going to happen overnight? I don't know.
Could have pointed to a lot of things, Mark. The school itself, the surroundings, where you're recruiting from and all that, but he went in a different direction.
I mean, Lexington, Kentucky is it is one of the most beautiful places on earth. A lot of things to be able to recruit to there. But I didn't see the reason why that was the answer. But hey, yeah, at least he knew it was going to be a little bit controversial with what he said. I mean, he tried to give the disclaimer and the disqualifier before saying it. That really doesn't bother me that much, but I thought great job of pointing out what Kurt Cignetti had said. He was kind of cocky and kind of odd, but I think if you don't really believe it, then you don't have much of a chance to do it. If Kentucky wins 10 games, it would be much less of a surprise than what Indiana did in the last 2 years to me. It's not the worst program in the SEC. It's not. I mean, they've had some success, and they had success under Mark Stoops and had several seasons in which they won 7 or 8 games. So I don't think Kentucky is as much of the stepchild as people are making them out to be.
No, it's just been a little underachieving the last couple of years, but Stoops did a good job. I think that Stein seems like has re-energized the recruiting, which is good. Yeah. Obviously, you need that. You need the lifeblood. Honestly, Mark, if they win 8 games, that seems like a really good season for them next year.
I think going in, Will Stein is 90% Lincoln Riley.
Okay,
I like that. Can he be 110% Lincoln Riley, which is coordinated defense, and maybe 90% is too high because of all Lincoln's success that he had with quarterbacks and developing that reputation. But I think Will Stein has a good reputation as quarterback, and he had success as offensive coordinator at Kentucky. It's not crazy. It's not crazy to think. He doesn't have, though, that niche behind him of everything that is recruiting to Oregon. I mean, Oregon has the aura of the money, all of those things that I think that always gives them an advantage in recruiting. I don't know that Kentucky has it.
And my question with them, Mark, too, is like Indiana obviously invested in their football program. They were able to find that money. I don't know how much Mark Cuban was that. He probably is less than what he says he is, but they obviously invested in their football program. That's hard for them being a basketball school. I wonder what that tug of war is like at Kentucky.
I think basketball is still king at Kentucky, but I think they have enough money to put into their football program. I mean, they're not spending as much as LSU, but if you look at a school like Georgia, who's been in control of the SEC for a long period of time, they're not going out and paying for the top dudes in the portal. I mean, they're kind of paying their own roster. And so I think paying your own roster and roster retention is as big a deal of anything as it is going out and getting guys from the outside. But they've loaded up with a bunch of players. We talked about Nick Anderson and the Minchie, the quarterback that played at Notre Dame. They've had that starting job. So I think they've given themselves a chance. We'll see them in Norman this year.
They paid a huge buyout to Mark Stoops. Like, that's got to be a sign that you're investing in that program, too. If you're going to pay him $40 million not to coach you, that signals that they're invested in success at Kentucky. So I wouldn't count him off just because he's brash. The big difference between he and Cignetti is Will Stein doesn't have head coaching experience. Cignetti's wasn't on this level, really, but he had head coaching experience. So we'll see what that looks like. Probably not a fair comparison, but it struck me as being pretty similar.
Yeah, but I mean, just be in that mindset. You probably anticipate some of the questions that you're going to get. I mean, and that would have been one that was, why Kentucky or what, all that type of stuff. But day one, he gets the award for attracting the most attention on Media Day.
And we appreciate him for that. I appreciate SEC for having 4 media days. So that way we can get into all sorts of little minutia and then on to like the widescreen stuff. Like, I don't know, how about a secession from the NCAA? Like Kirby Smart was entertaining, just like the commissioner was.
That was good. I liked it. I mean, I think it's a real possibility. I don't think it's saber rattling.
Yeah, when these guys are talking about it, it's at least they're trying to accomplish something, and I think that is probably an objective. I question about how difficult that would be to do. And I think very difficult. I think it's easier to talk about, much more difficult to do, but they're clearly trying to send a message.
There was and I was in the room yesterday for the commissioners, 3.5 minute buildup of working with this, the Ted Cruz bill, and knowing that the butt was coming. But we have some things that are in this bill that are unacceptable. There is some weird. I think anytime you have a bill that goes through Congress, you get stuff attached to it and weird things that happen. I don't know why they would say that the maximum number of teams a conference could have is 19. Who wants 19 teams in a conference anyway? That's a nightmare.
Seems really arbitrary.
You want an even number of teams no matter what. But if I don't think that the SEC and the Big Ten can ever get along because they are backed by different television networks, and that's problematic. But we're seeing that unfold when it comes to this college football playoff. They should be able to expand the playoff to at least 16. I mean, 24, I don't mind. I mean, we could have a big debate on that, but you should at least be able to get it to 16. But they can't agree. So I don't think they're ever going to be able to agree on how to rule college football. You can, I think, bring in the element of collective bargaining pretty easily with a 16-team league or a 20-team league. You could get representative from every school. You get those guys together. They can get some representation. And then it's part of the stuff that we were talking with Jacob Dieselers about yesterday. And part of the thing that the commissioner also mentioned is you just can't have people suing you every decision that's made on this or that. You can't take it to court. You have to have some protection from that by rules. And with collective bargaining, the courts, I think, are going to look at it a little bit differently. And it's much easier to institute that when you're talking about governing 16 to 20 schools as opposed to 135 schools. And the number of schools right now that really, I think, are trying to win and play big-time college football is somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 to 35 or something like that. And so I think that group is going to separate itself from another group, whether it'll be two governing bodies or one. I think that's what we're going to have to find out.
Is that separation you're talking about financial?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to win, but not everybody can.
No, definitely. I mean, it's clearly financial. The amount of money and the amount of resources that are going in, and how you have to, if you are can you continue to restock your roster? I mean, I think a lot of athletic departments are going to have a hard time, meeting that number of 20 million that was, in the settlement that you can pay your roster. If you want to compete to win in the SEC, you're going to have to spend double and some after that. So that teams in other conferences, I think, especially that aren't used to contending year in and year out, I don't know that they've got the cash to do it.
So this is the third of 4 weeks, media day. SEC goes first. Big Ten is next week. I can't wait to hear what they have to say. And Tony Petitti gets up there and speaks, and some of these other coaches get up there and speak, because they're going to counter program what they're saying right now with some of these coaches and what the commissioner is saying. That'd be really interesting.
Did you have the American Conference in there?
I did not include the American.
That's Friday in Tampa.
I did not know that.
I think
I did not know. Are you going to stick around to cover that?
It might be in St. Pete.
Okay.
Well, there is a tropical depression in the Gulf, so I'm not planning on being in Tampa on Friday, but it is probably there's a small possibility.
Yeah, it could happen. You might be there.
But if it is, I'll go hang out with Trey Lamb in Tulsa.
Well, I would like that a lot, because I'm a fan of his and what they're building. But those conversations are much different when you talk about what their standing is to the rest of college football. So we're in the midst of talking season. That's what we're doing, which means doing season is not too far apart. We had a discussion about NFL players with the most approved. I'd like to get your opinions on some of ours in just a minute. I need to hear about Landers Chevy, though. What's going on there?
Landers Chevrolet has got some great deals going on right now. $2,500 off MSRP, no interest for 3 years on the Equinox. The 2027, 2026 Trax is $1,000 below MSRP, no interest for 3 years. So check them out. Get in there. Well-qualified buyers have got a better chance. Got them financed through GM Financial. LandersChevroletNorman.com, 1221 Ed Noble Parkway. Great used selection right now, and plenty of new cars. You can see them when you're driving by Landers Chevrolet.
Drive is here in studio today on the Sports Animal. Animal on YouTube. Great coverage from SEC Media Days. A lot of content on there already. If you want to hear from Sooner participants, Mark and Kale did an excellent job. Shout out to Preston Poole as well, doing a ton of work on site there. A lot of work involved in that. So very proud of our Media Day coverage. Podcast page as well. Obviously, you can hear it live. Just download the Sports Animal app. Mark is in today for Lander Chevrolet. Tonight, between 5:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., I will be a part of a class that is called Understanding Birth. I'm going to understand birth so well tomorrow when I come in after my 3-hour birthing class. I'll have a lot to, well, you already know how that deal goes, but I'll be able to at least comprehend them.
Do you know what topics are going to be covered? I mean, I'm pretty sure that you understand birth. I mean, if that's the name of the class, I'm going to make the appeal to say, I understand birth. I understand how this happens. I understand how we got to this spot. So can I just take the rest of the day off?
Okay, now
get out of that.
A more pertinent question. There's not going to be visual aids, are there?
I don't know. That's what I'm a little bit worried about, actually. My imagination's kind of all over the place right now. I don't know if there's a demonstration of some sorts. Probably not a live one unless we're really lucky / unlucky, however you want to put that.
Yeah. Wow.
But, we had a measurement yesterday, Mark. The baby's belly is 89th percentile. So I don't know where that came from, but you got a big belly.
I think you want the birth to happen before it gets over the 100 percentile. You don't want the belly. I mean, I think my belly is at 102 percentile right now, so I can relate. Yeah, you want to keep it under 100, I think.
For her sake. Yeah. Absolutely. So got that going for me tonight. This is the drive of the Sports Animal.
You may have that going against you tonight.
That
I don't
is
know
true.
If going for you.
Well,
I guess we'll find out.
For me, against me, I'm there, baby. I'm there. So we'll rock and roll. We were having a discussion, Mark, a little bit earlier about NFL players with the most approved this season. And I figured this would be a very popular answer. The most popular answer, and somebody I had on my list was Kyler Murray. How much, in your opinion, does Kyler Murray have to prove this year?
Well, we were sitting yesterday at Harry Harpoon's and watching the scroll roll across and said Kyler Murray involved in a quarterback battle with J.J. McCarthy. That's not good news for Kyler Murray. I mean, that should be a job that he wins. I mean, I think the Vikings have already written him off as a bust, and that's the reason why they paid Kyler Murray. So I don't know. I was telling Preston yesterday, I don't care how big you are as a quarterback. If you are taking off and running across the middle of the field like Kyler Murray did successfully at Oklahoma, your days are probably numbered in the NFL. There's just too many fast people moving around there. If they can figure out how to get him into space and use his feet, then I think he can be successful. But you have to do something. You have to have some kind of superhuman special skill at Kyler Murray's size to be a successful quarterback in the NFL. It's a tall, grown man's league back there. You're throwing the ball in the pocket to great athletic wide receivers, and I don't know that he sees the field as well, and he can't rely on just athletic ability the way that he did in college to be that elite quarterback. So I'm not super high on that working out very well, but I would think that he would at least win that job.
There may not be more pressure on any player in the NFL this year than a guy like Kyler Murray, because there are guys who are playing for contracts like Baker Mayfield, for example. You know, the Buccaneers don't want to pay him what is basically market rate for a quarterback for him, and they have to try to figure that out. Like Kyler Murray is playing for the rest of his career, and I don't buy that it's a real battle. You know, I think that's kind of a charade.
I mean, I was going to say we also once upon a time heard he was in a quarterback battle with Austin Kendall.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. I do. But he's got a lot to prove because he's 28 years old now. And, you know, I do think he's a starting caliber quarterback in this league, but he wants to be a high money starting quarterback. So, a lot to prove this year.
Yep.
I want to see what it looks like running the ball, because there's been times where he just doesn't run the ball, be it injury, be it trying to protect him. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm with you. That is his skill. You know, that's what he has to do. How much pressure would you say are on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson? Because if they quit today, they got a good chance to make the Hall of Fame. But there's levels to this. Those guys need to prove a little bit more, don't they?
I think so. I think that maybe a little bit more on Lamar. You got a new first-year coach there with the new offense. So those guys are in a tough conference. The best quarterbacks in the NFL are in the AFC. You know,
Right.
you throw in Mahomes and Burrow. And so, I mean, what is it? That's 4 of the top 5?
Yep.
Close to that?
Yep.
So, only one guy can win it. So I think there's definitely pressure on all of them, but especially, I think really more so Buffalo, since they've never won one and haven't been to one lately. I mean, I think that they've got a little bit more pressure on them.
Certainly. And we're talking about these guys, being elite quarterbacks. I think Jalen Hurts, we were having that conversation earlier. Are you an elite quarterback? I think that he's got, even though he is a Super Bowl and an MVP caliber player and won a Super Bowl MVP, I think Jalen's got a little bit to prove this year, working with another offensive coordinator, lesser surroundings. I don't think his margin for error is as big as it used to be.
I would put him in a category of the most.
Okay.
To prove, because it's a little bit his fault, right? That AJ Brown left. I mean, he's kind of blamed for some of the dysfunction with that. And so I think that it is a big year. If you believe that there was some kind of rift there, or that AJ Brown couldn't coexist with Jalen Hurts and all the dysfunction that they had on offense, then he's got to step it up and show that he's more than just the tush push.
He's had a new play caller entering the season every year in his career. Jalen Hurts has. I can't imagine how difficult that would be. But at some point, you have to be like, okay, it's not the play calling. That's the issue.
Yeah. It has been very dysfunctional. The head coaching position to me as well as the assistant coaching position, but they've somehow overcome that. I mean, and maybe it is just that Nick Sirianni kind of thrives in chaos.
Did you see the latest from him? He is looking towards ChatGPT to freshen his message for this season. Does that make you feel very confident?
ChatGPT. I can't criticize it until until I know how good it is. No, probably not. Probably
I don't
not.
think that's a good sign.
Yeah, what do you think Vince Lombardi thought about ChatGPT?
He's rolling over in his grave. That's what he thinks.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts play callers since his freshman year at college. You ready for this? Lane Kiffin, Brian Dable, Mike Loxley, Lincoln Riley, Doug Peterson, Nick Sirianni, Shane Steichen, Brian Johnson, Kellen Moore, Kevin Patullo, was that the play caller last year? Yeah. And now Sean Mannion. He has had a new play caller every year since his freshman year at college.
And I don't know that they've gotten better.
No, probably peaked early with Lane and Lincoln.
Yeah.
Actually. Ridiculous. What's going on with Lander Chevy before I get out of here?
Great deals going on at Lander Chevy at Noble Parkway. They've got a huge selection right now, and you can get up to 5 years with no interest. So make sure you go by and check them out at Lander Chevrolet.
Good talking with you. More coverage coming on from SEC Media Days, more interviews. So stick with us on our podcast page. If you can't catch it live, YouTube live, and on Sports Animal app live as well. Matt Meyer, excellent job, man. Appreciate you. And everybody who texted and called today, thank you very much. Middle of the day show coming your way.
Now I know my wife cheats on me.
athleticism is in question.
You haven't even got a name tag. You got no chance.
And he's ready to talk sports.
Give him a call, see what the dealio is.
This is the Middle of the Day Show with Mark Rodgers on 98.1 WWLS, the sports animal.
Yes, it is, Big Voice Guy. It is the Middle of the Day Show from SEC Media Days in Tampa, Florida. Also coming to you live on the Sports Animals YouTube page. It is very infrequent that we are filmed while we are doing the radio show, so you never know what you can expect. I will try to be cognizant of that at all times. Preston Poole doing a great job engineering here from Tampa. J-Mo is in studio. Hello, J-Mo.
Howdy. You look great, Mark, by the way.
Thank you.
You look great on the YouTube.
Thank you very much. I got my shirt on from Fire Lake, one of our sponsors, that they were kind enough to give me from their golf tournament today. So I did have a bad situation yesterday with those coconut shrimp at Harpoon Harry's. Some of the delicious, I don't know what it was. It wasn't cocktail sauce, but it was some kind of sauce. I looked down, and it looked like I've been bitten by a snake. So have to find a Tide stick somewhere before we come home. That's the danger you get by wearing white shirts, unfortunately. But we have a very busy show for you today. We'll visit with Ryan McGee, talk a little college football. Marty and McGee, who are on the Sports Animal Saturday mornings, do a great job. We will also visit with our good friend Doug Amos, who covers the Auburn Tigers, who are here today. South Carolina also in the house. We'll catch up with Terry Ford, who is part of 107.5 The Game in Columbia, South Carolina. All of those things, plus your calls and your texts. We'll check the text line for the first time today. It's sometimes, JMO, we're a little bit oblivious to what's going on while we're out here in Radio Row of what's happening at the podium. It was that way yesterday with Will Stein, who thinks that he is going to be the reason why Kentucky turns it around next season. So good luck on that. I don't think Kentucky, to me, is at the bottom of the SEC in terms of programs. They've got money. Yeah, they got basketball tradition, but they have won in the last decade.
What do you mean, Mark? They're going to be Indiana. Just listen to everybody talk about them.
I don't think there is Indiana. I don't think Indiana's out there. I think that is such an incredible occurrence, and that because Indiana is not. They're not the team that's spending the most money. I mean, I hear people say, well, yeah, Indiana figured out the NIL. No, I think they figured out, they hired a coach that was at a program that had underrated players, that coached them up, was really confident. And the Indiana team of last year was not the Indiana team of 2024. Like, I think the 2025 team was much better. The 2024 team got into the playoff and got curb stomped by Notre Dame. Last year's team was much better, and I think that they take a step back this year and have some regression. But they're not spending the type of money that Tech is, and they're spending the type of money that that A&M is, or spending the type of money that Miami is. So I don't know. To invoke the name Indiana sets yourself up for massive disappointment.
We've heard it not only with Kentucky, though, also Auburn today, who was at center stage with Al Golish out there. So that's two teams now that, like you just said, have invoked the name Indiana. I don't know if there can be two Indianas, Mark. You're not sure there can even be one, but there certainly can't be two.
Man, I was really impressed with Alex Golish. Like I said, he was running a 40-yard dash down Media Row to do some interviews here earlier today. Yeah, he spent some time as a GA in Stillwater at Oklahoma State. And right here in Tampa at USF. And so he should be fairly comfortable with moving into the SEC, bringing his quarterback along with him. And Auburn has had big-time issues at quarterback the last couple of seasons. I think that they can expect to be a little bit better this year. Speaking of Kirby Smart, walking up right here next to us, getting ready to do a little radio in Atlanta. So he was on the podium first today. And he's the defending champ in the league. A lot of things interesting to say, and maybe one of the bigger surprises from Kirby Smart was a nod and a reference to the Oklahoma City Thunder when it comes to studying success. And so here's what Kirby Smart had to say about the Thunder.
Give me just 1 second, Mark. I'm
Sure.
so sorry. Got to get my settings here in order. I'm slow to the draw.
Oh, my bad.
All right, now I got it for you, Mark. Here we go. Ready to go.
This time in college football, the landscape of college football, that's all the talking heads want to talk about. Everywhere I go, TV, media, everybody wants to talk about the landscape of college football. And it's sad that what's forgotten, what wins games. Maybe that becomes boring. Maybe that becomes mundane, but not at our place.
This is his lead into the comments as well.
More SEC games, portal, college and federal legislation to navigate the NIL era we're in, players leaving, coaches leaving. That's all people want to talk about. But what we focus on at Georgia is what wins football games. And that's my passion and energy. That's what we love to do. We love to grind it out, play physical football, be explosive in offense, be explosive in defense by how you create turnovers and what you do to create sacks. But at the end of the day, I don't enjoy talking about all these things that are the landscape of college football. I enjoy talking about what wins and what allows our team to have the best chance. The consistency and performance is probably what I'm most proud of over the last 10 to 11 years, including this season. And the consistency and performance is what Georgia's been built on. Can we repeatedly do and be successful regardless of who comes in and out of your program? This season, like many others, we chose to study a successful brand or team or follow someone. And this year, the reigning NBA champions at the time when we studied them was the OKC Thunder. And they talked about being uncommon and how you can be uncommon in today's world. And our guys took a week-by-week section of being uncommon, believing in the success of others is greater than the success of yourself. In
10 seconds.
Normal. That is uncommon to be more proud and have a little bit of mudita, we call it, that we enjoy the success of others more than the success of ourselves. And that's what our team and program's built on.
Hey, I mean, that sounds good in theory for building chemistry of the team as to be unselfish, but that was a cool reference to and nod to Oklahoma City. That I guess at the time of the study was the world champs. Now they'll have to figure out a way to take that back from the Knicks. So I may be an outlier. I really do find the future of college football fascinating. I'm sure that, for Kirby Smart, it is better to talk about the long-term success that they've had, and he is right. I mean, in a 10-year run, you win double-digit games every year over that 10-year span, with the exception of the COVID year when they won 8. And Georgia has been incredible. And that program has always been considered a very good one, but he has taken it to heights that it never before had seen. I mean, it's Mark Richt had a good start at Georgia, but Kirby Smart has done a lot more with it. And we'll share later today. We're going to cast our ballots for all SEC and rank the league. And so I'll think that comparing it to Phil Steele and Lindy's and some of the other publications out there, we'll see what the media as a whole end up ranking the SEC. So let's also hear from him when it comes to, I mean, I think that a big topic this week is what's the future of the SEC? Is it a league that wants to take over its own autonomy? Do they want to create a playoff that is staged with SEC teams and perhaps other teams that the SEC would invite to participate in that? Are they going to continue to have a championship game? All of those things that are going on right now in college football. But here's what Kirby Smart, who, again, is a big influencer as part of the most successful program in the league over the last decade, has to say.
And this is courtesy of SEC Network. If it wants to play. Sorry. See, the problem with playing DVR stuff, Mark, is it has to buffer sometimes. So give me just 1 second. I apologize.
No problem at all. And I think he's probably earned the ability to talk about that as a guy that's been tenured at Georgia as long as he has. But again, we can get more into some of the on the field stuff and other things that are going on in the world of college football.
the classic technical difficulties here, Mark. I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Okay, let's tell you what. Let's not worry about him hearing from him at the podium, and we can do some other things. Clark Lee is going to speak coming up here in about 20 minutes, and so we will listen to some of that. I think Vanderbilt's one of the more interesting teams in the league. No more Diego Pavia. Can they continue to play good football? They've been one of the league's darlings. They're rebuilding the stadium at Vanderbilt. They do have a interesting quarterback situation going on right now with Jared Curtis, who is one of the highest ranked recruits in Vanderbilt history that they signed. And they also have a Oklahoma kid that's very much in the job, in the hunt to win that job, and Blaze Blurowitz from Cushing, who, like Pavia, transferred to Vanderbilt from New Mexico State. That's been quite a pipeline for Vandy to thrust itself into relevance in the SEC. So I'm sure we will hear on that about what that's going to be, and replacing Diego Pavia at quarterback, I'm sure is a big concern for them. I don't know. They got 13 wins. I mean, it's the last 2 seasons, Vanderbilt won more games than they did in the previous 5. I just, if you have to look at teams going up or going down in the league, I would think that is maybe the most prime contender to be going on a downward cycle. Some of the players that they brought here today, they've got a guy walking around, one of the bigger players that we've seen here, but I think that they have a hard time kind of to continue keeping that going, especially when you look at the number of wins for LSU last year and some teams that you would figure that are certainly going to be going up over the next couple of seasons. Maybe not this year for LSU, but if Will Stein is going to win because of him at Kentucky, those wins are going to have to come from someplace. They didn't beat Vandy last year. Okay, all right. We do have Kirby on the future of college football.
Yes, and we're going to have to hear Dusty Dvorak's intro to it, because otherwise I'm afraid I'm going to lose it again. So here is
I got no issue with that.
Here's SC Network, Dusty Dvorak asking him the question.
You see now as a coach, there is a lot of conversation. If we expand the playoff too big, we'd get rid of conference championship games. I hate it.
Yeah.
How important is it that we keep conference championship games, particularly the SEC championship game?
Yeah, I want to be careful because I'm an enthusiast of the SEC championship game. I've coached in it in a bunch. The last years between Alabama and Georgia, I've been there. I think it's great for the game. I think it's great for the revenue stream to the conference. Let's not talk about the money that goes to the players and the schools when we play these games and we turn it over to them in terms of NIL. You're going to be taking a huge piece out. But if they meant getting rid of the SEC championship game in the form of expansion, I'm for expansion. I'm for more opportunities. Look at last year. Teams that were in the bottom of that 10 almost won it. So at the end of the day, if we can get more teams competitive and there's more parity in college football, let's get those teams in the tournament. Let's get those teams in the playoff and play for it. And if we had to give up the SEC championship for that, I think I would be for that. Although I love it and I think it's great. And as long as there's a championship, I'm playing for it. I want to go play for that and compete and win. I'm not going to look at it and say, well, let's save up. No, we lost a really important player in that game last year. Our best pass rusher went out, and that affected us in the Ole Miss game. But we won a championship because of it.
Yeah. I'm not asking you to name names or speak for anybody, but do you feel like the majority of the league's coaches feel the same way that you do when you have those conversations? Because I know you guys have to be constantly talking about this.
Yeah, probably more so than I do.
Yeah.
Because I still feel strongly about the SEC championship more so than most of the guys. Most of the guys want a shot. It's self-survival. They want an opportunity to play for the playoffs, and their fan base, everyone in our conference, all 16, is disappointed if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I can interpret that for him. I think the answer to that is that he spent a lot of time talking about the expansion of the playoff and just a short amount of time lauding the SEC championship game. But if he's the guy that says the SEC championship game can go away, a guy that's won as many of them as he has in the last few years, then I think it can go away. I think you can replace the championship weekend with compelling games in the league that perhaps allow more teams in, and you have bigger revenue opportunities coming up with more relevant games. Playoff games are relevant games. I think we found that out right now. I get a text, and this is an interesting one. It says, in all reality, Mark, I'm not here to diss the SEC, but the Big Ten has kind of owned the national championship for the last 5 years. So why do they think they're so predominantly in charge of college football and not the Big Ten? I don't think that they look at it that way. I think that the Big Ten clearly has a stake in its own sovereignty as well. If the Big Ten decided, if we went two separate ways and you had something similar to maybe the way that soccer is in Europe, I mean, each country has its own league. They all clubs play same game, but you have a league in France, you have a league in Germany, you have a league in England, and all those type of things. I don't know. College football could have a Champions League type 1-game playoff between two smaller playoffs. I think that could be huge. But it's easier to govern, I think, with a smaller body. And that's one of the reasons why the NCAA has failed, is I think that they just have too many schools with different interests to be able to manage it from one body. But when it comes to big-time college football, if you could be a part of two separate situations, you could free up other schools to do different things. The SEC kind of manages itself to play its brand of professional football. I don't think that it's the SEC is superior to the Big Ten. I'm not trying to say that at all. But I think that because they're backed by different TV networks, it's difficult for them to agree on who gets the spoils. The SEC is run by ESPN. Fox has the rights to the Big Ten. ESPN is not a part of broadcasting Big Ten games. And so, therefore, those two entities are going to be competing until there's something different going on with these current TV deals.
The big noon kickoff, Mark, with Big Ten legend Mark Ingram on the panel for that show.
An SEC player.
That's right. Before I know we got to get to a break here, I wanted to ask you real quick: how does what you heard Kirby Smart say compare to? I don't know if you heard what Eli Drinkowitz said yesterday regarding the college football playoff
Go ahead. What did Eli say?
Well, the play. I have the clip here. I don't want to paraphrase and get it wrong, but it was along the lines of getting more play-in games to allow more teams in it. Like the teams that make the playoffs should not be determined by a committee, but should rather be determined by play on the field. Okay, to play it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
Miscommunication.
The challenge for me is there shouldn't be a committee in determining who enters into the playoffs. It should be decided on the football field. Football is a game that's played, in a stadium on a field, and there's a winner and a loser. And I think we can all, reconcile our emotions about it when it's, hey, you played the game and you didn't either play your best and you lost, or you played your best and you won, and that's how you determine a champion. I think in any format, whether we expand the playoffs or not, when there's a committee that's going to determine the game, determine who's in, there's going to be a lot of controversy in that. And I was one of the first to get up. I think I was the only one in the SEC to talk about we need more access in the playoffs, and they took a great idea and they screwed it up. And so I think we got to figure out how to have play-in games by the conferences and decide on the field how to get teams into expanded playoffs. We need more access. 12 is too small, but going 1 through 24 and telling me a playoff committee is going to select 24 teams that are going to deserve to be in the playoffs, that's insanity to me based off of what I heard in that committee.
I don't know. I've been told all 10-2 records are created equal, Coach. That's what I've been told. I'm not
well,
sure
we were told that Mississippi State last year was a bad loss or a tough team. But
played
then
a few teams down to the wire.
Well, but they beat Arizona State at home, who was considered a quality win for some of the teams in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how that math ain't mathing.
I'm with you.
So, I think that's where it gets convoluted, in my opinion. And again, we don't get credit for, there's the environments that we play in. We were told that Texas was downgraded for
about 10 seconds.
Look at Florida.
Florida had a bunch of players drafted, but have you been to Ben Griffin Hill Stadium? It's one of the top 15 stadiums in the world. If you have a ranking of top 15 stadiums in the world, Ben Griffin Hill Stadium is going to be one of them.
Okay. First of all, can we permanently ban the phrase "the math ain't mathin'"?
Oh, he said it 3 times yesterday, Mark. It was electric. That was his phrase of the day from Drink.
I don't care about that. That phrase is awful. Let's get rid of it. I don't know. We can come up with something better than that. the committee is only needed in certain situations. You get to play these games. The committee does not put a team in that's 6-6 ahead of a team that's 10-2. And I don't think anybody here is complaining about anything the Big 12 is doing. Texas Tech was a one-loss team a year ago, and BYU spent a lot of the time in the top 10, and there was no consideration for BYU getting into the college playoff unless they won the Big 12. So nobody in the Big 12 is keeping Missouri out of the college football playoff. I mean, hey, you're in this league. You guys jumped in it when Oklahoma didn't want to get in it the first time. You got to win games. I'm sorry. That's the way it is. When Missouri wins enough games to get in the college football playoff, they'll put them in. So I don't know what other way he wants to do it. If he wants to have a 6 versus 3 and a 5 versus 4 that jump into a bigger college football playoff, then that's fine. I mean, I'm not. I mean, he's got a deal in his contract where he gets a bonus if they win 8 games. You don't even have to get in the college football playoff to continue to get paid as much, and he's making $10 million a year. I don't know. He is kind of a guy that grates on my nerves a little bit. I don't understand all of that. I mean, all of these guys are going to be getting some messages in their inbox though when it starts talking about endorsing a 2014 playoff, because that's not the ESPN plan.
It's all he seems to be talking out of both sides of his mouth too, Mark. Like the idea that it should be decided on the field. Okay, that would give more opportunities to conferences that aren't the SEC. But he's also saying they should get credit for playing in tough stadiums. Well, that's what you need a committee for. So, like, it seems like he wants it both ways, but the two ways are complete opposites of one another.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of any of that stuff. Not at all. All right, let's take a break. I am in today for Landers Chevrolet of Norman. Also, want to give a huge shout out to our travel sponsor, Mako of Norman. If you mention the Sports Animal and SEC Media Days, 10% off. I'm saving you money. Better call Mako if you need car repair and you need your car taken care of after it's been dinged up a little bit. They will get it done. 405-368-1638 is their number, just off of Flood in Norman, very conveniently located, and they'll make you a great deal. But make sure you tell them the Sports Animal sent you, and you get 10% off. No interest for up to 5 years at Landers Chevrolet in Norman on Ed Noble Parkway. So if you've got a car that you need repaired, go to Mako. If you need a new car, Landers Chevrolet of Norman will take care of you. We will come back and we will hear a little bit from Clark Lee at the podium from Vanderbilt and much more right after this. Stay tuned.
And how that math
McGee. You can hear him Saturday mornings right here on the Sports Animal.
This is 8 minutes, Mark. It'll take us right to the break if you just want me to go to break after it's done.
All right, so I love saying this to people, but because Texas is Texas, right?
Just toss it to break after this.
When
I will.
Everybody made a big deal out of Texas. And I
By the way,
telling
everyone
all
on
our
YouTube can
friends
hear the conversation.
at all these
so
SEC
heads
schools,
up.
wait.
No cursing on YouTube.
Yes.
Got it. Hi, YouTube audience.
It is one of my absolute favorite places on earth, going to a football game in Norman, Oklahoma. It always has been. What I always say is the Oklahoma football crowd is like if you go to like a St. Louis Cardinals game, and they will stand up and applaud like a solid bunt sacrifice, right? And in Oklahoma, they just understand ball and the atmosphere. So I was on Baker Mayfield watch, so I went to a lot of games over his last couple of years. And I was telling my dad officiated a couple of games there back in the 80s. And I would tell everybody, I said, all due respect to everybody in Austin, to me, Norman always felt like an SEC, school. It felt like an SEC atmosphere. And so now what's been fun is, like my Tennessee people, I went to Tennessee. They go to Norman, Georgia. When they all go to Norman, they all like, this place is amazing. I'm like, I've been trying to tell y'all. So it's no. I think it is absolutely.
Your dad officiated when they had the crown on the field.
Yeah.
You could run down. All the way.
And my dad was a field judge,
Uh-huh.
so Dad always talks about him on one side. And Clemson had this too. Him on one sideline, and you could barely see the head of the side judge on the other side of the field because of that hump. Yeah, my dad always tells a story at I think it was like North Carolina and Oklahoma.
Yeah. And
it was Dad and a guy named Bill Booker. They were always downfield together and in the ACC because back then the traveling team would bring the officials. And so Dad, it might have been a split crew, but Dad worked the game and Oklahoma wins the game. And when it was over with, the coaches back then would send handwritten reports to the office. And Switzer sends a handwritten report to the ACC office and he says, next time, just send Billy the Kid and Wyatt Earp. Because he said they're bigger swindlers. They're the only swindlers bigger than McGee and Booker. And then he gave them A grades. And so I said something to Switzer about it later. He's like, no, I did that to everybody. So no, but I remember my dad working. I was like probably in high school, middle school. I remember my dad coming back from Norman and going, we got to take you guys up there because he was just talking about the atmosphere was just off the chart.
That was the game that Switzer called Dick Crumb, Denny Crumb.
Yes, that was it. Yeah, that was totally it.
I mean, Switzer's one of the all-time people persons. So, I mean, that was weird. I don't know if he had something going on in his head.
Well, it was no. He was just giving him a hard time because the great thing about Dad being a field judge was we have all these pictures. My dad has he calls it the wall of screaming, and so my job as a kid was I would record Dad's games on VHS at the house so he could watch film on Sunday because back then it's just kids, that's how we did it.
Right.
And then my other job was if I was with Dad on the road. We go to the airport on Sunday morning. I get the newspapers, and I would try to find pictures that had Dad in the background. And so Dad has all these pictures of him getting screamed at by coaches. But but being a field judge, he interacted with Coach the whole game. He loved Switzer. Like they used to have the best time. He just gave him a hard time. And now it's so weird for me because I'm a few weeks ago I'm standing on the field talking to Coach Switzer after Oklahoma wins College World Series
in Omaha.
Yeah.
We're still trying to figure out how many Jello shots Coach did.
He was over there.
It was at least 6 and maybe 10. I don't know. He said he never had any before, but I know him well enough not to believe it.
He was over there.
Oklahoma was pretty good last year, but they were fortunate. They got a couple of 50-yard field goals that mattered to propel them to the playoff. It looks to me like they're better this year on the offensive line. Defensive line, not as much depth. So do they need some good bounces again this year? I mean, that Georgia is going to be really tough.
Yeah, the schedule's just awful. It's funny. I joke with Venables about it, about the fact I'm like, did y'all make somebody mad? And I my daughter goes to South Carolina, and I joke with those guys all the time. Like, did y'all make somebody mad with these schedules that you got when the new schedule? But the schedule's awful, but you have to get the good bounces. But they're definitely better.
Yeah.
What's going to be weird is if it's a better football team, but the record's not as good, right? Yeah. But man, what a November that was. People. And I had mixed feelings about expanding the playoff, right? But to me, Oklahoma is the example of why the expanded playoff was great because now they start making that run in November and the nation's paying attention to them and they're in the conversation. With the 14 playoff, we would have stopped talking about them, at Halloween.
Right.
And so it was, but yes, but you got to have a good balance. You just they're going to need a couple of those because the schedule's just too tough.
Are you sure about Venables? Because if it did go a little haywire last year, I mean, this season could go a little haywire too. You think that he's definitely the right man?
Yeah, I think that, and you're talking to Tennessee alum, right? And I have to preach this to my in-laws all the time, which is I think when you're in the bubble, it's much easier to question that. I think nationally, people don't understand why Venables is on all the hot seat lists.
We don't understand why Josh is the same way at Tennessee.
They just made the playoff.
Yeah,
and so I did, but like I went to the beach a couple weeks ago and I got my stack of 6 preseason magazines and they all got the hot seat list. And last year Venables was at 2, and this year he's at 9. I'm like, why is he even still on the list?
Yeah,
Why do we have a playoff if you make the playoff? I mean, I just talked to James Franklin last week. He probably said the exact same thing. He came within a play of playing for a national championship, and now he's in Blacksburg. So nationally, I think people look at Venables on the list and they're like, what are you talking about? Because I think most programs around the country would trade places with Oklahoma right now.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with that. I hadn't had a chance to watch your SEC forecast, but is Georgia the favorite? I mean, it looks to me like they should be.
I think they are. And Georgia's in a strange spot because they won their back-to-back titles. It kind of feels like Clemson a few years ago. They won their back-to-back titles, and they're certainly going to probably be the favorites and probably going to win the conference and all those things. But they set the bar where they set it, and if they're not playing in the national championship game, the season is viewed as a disappointment.
Right.
And that's who you want to be. You want to be the team that's disappointed with that. That's where Alabama was forever. But Alabama also kept going back. And so it's an interesting crossroads, I think, right now for Kirby Smart. He's not on the hot seat, not even close.
No, yeah.
But I think that the grumblings will start because people get spoiled. I always say that to Alabama fans, I'm like, you people are spoiled. Everybody else would have traded places with y'all. And so it'll be an interesting time if Georgia gets to November and they got a loss or two, or if they make it to the semifinals and don't make the championship game again. It'll be interesting to see how the people in Georgia react.
Preseason expectations are pretty high for Alabama, but they couldn't run the ball last year. They're losing some guys. Do people have just so much respect for Kellen DeBoer that now it's his system, it's his guys, that they're going to be up there?
Yeah, I mean, I like him so much. I love his story. I love the fact that it was 15 years ago he was driving the bus and making sandwiches for his NAIA team on a truck stop. I just love the fact that a guy can go from there to where he is now. But I also don't know that he'll ever do enough.
Yeah, right.
To me, he always felt like a transition guy. Even if he'd have won the conference, to me, I always felt like he's going to be a transition guy. And then he can go, take the USC job and make $1 bazillion and probably, and maybe win a national championship there. But I think the expectation level is maybe a little unreasonable there.
Yeah, tough to follow Saban.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time, man, but good to talk to you.
Hey, y'all call me anytime, man. It's great.
Sounds good.
New season of college football is coming. Closer to kickoff. Closer to chaos.
Hey, Mo, do you think we can get you on a bull?
Oh, you get me on a bull. Oh, you get me on a bucking bronco. I'll buck around.
Well, we just need to text Taylor Gooch. You're in. I mean, he's the GM owner, whatever, of the Oklahoma Wildcatters. I mean, get you on there.
How about that? I'm in. All right, that's talk about YouTube content. We're making it right there.
How long has it been since you've been to a rodeo?
I actually used to go to the Liberty Bowl rodeo every year. When they come to Memphis, they do a rodeo in conjunction with the game. So, I mean, I guess it's been 2 years since I went to my last rodeo, maybe 3.
Wow. I would not have thought that the Liberty Bowl had a rodeo.
Oh, you bet, man. If rodeo comes to town in Memphis, Tennessee, we all go.
Wildcatters, according to the text here from the 714 prefix, Wildcatters sponsored by Oklahoma's own Ditch Witch. I mean, you could ride a bull and then you could ride a forklift.
Ditch Witch, I'm open for business too. You want me on a bull, all you got to do is give me a call.
The text line also says, JMO's energy is unmatched. Absolute unit of energy. He can get me hyped for anything. I like that. I agree.
It's easy for bull riding sells itself, Mark. That's all you need right there.
You can't read a promo about bull riding and not be enthusiastic.
That's right.
Somebody yesterday was complaining about your voice. I mean, that was
honestly
unnecessary.
That was text of the year right there. Because, some days I'll say something to really agitate the audience. But yesterday we were playing interviews and stuff. I really only did promo reads. So I was like, what could I have said to this guy? I didn't say anything to him. He just didn't like the sound of my voice. I'll work on that. Very helpful.
I mean, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. That was ridiculous.
It
was unnecessary. Speaking of saying something nice, the texters were not. That's on me. It's my bad for playing the opening statement. I mean, we've seen some of those locker room speeches that Clark Lee's given. Those are like JMO's bull riding promos. I mean, they're fun. They're filled with energy. The opening statement wasn't. We could probably pare down SEC Media Days to 3 days if we just got rid of the opening statements in there.
Agreed.
You take away 16 times 5 minutes. Yeah. I mean, we're at least out of here at noon on Thursday instead of a little bit later on.
Well, it's a great point by you, Mark, because like the Clark Lee's first year, remember, he a la Will Stein, he came out and said that Vanderbilt's going to be the number 1 program in the country. And I was ready to run through a brick wall. That was an intense first media day for him. His energy has dropped. He's got to pick it back up.
I would say consider it a success. I mean, he got them to 10 wins. That would be akin to being the number 1 team in the country. We got a guy on the text line that says that you can go out to Cowboys in Oklahoma City and you can get on a live bull. I don't think they buck as much as the ones that are going to be at the Paycom Center, but they're big. They're big enough.
I need a professional bull to support how well I'm going to ride it.
Have you ever ridden a mechanical bull?
No, I have not. And but see, that's the same thing, Mark. I don't want the cushy padding. I'm a football guy. I want to land in the dirt. I want to get my nose dirty if I'm going to ride a bull.
Okay. All right. That is a sport that I want no part of. No part of.
What about the wrangling where they tie the hog tying where they tie the feet and then you like put your hands up? Oh, I love that too.
Calf roping?
Calf roping. Thank you. I knew it wasn't a pig. It's a calf.
Do you think you can still do the radio show if you didn't have a thumb?
Oh, you think it's going to take my thumb off?
Yes, it will take your thumb off. I know 2 people that I grew up with. They have between them now 2 thumbs.
See, I like to play basketball. I'm going to need that thumb. Okay, maybe not a calf rope, but I'll bull ride though.
Yeah, you need it. I would think that the thumbs are something I don't want to get rid of. I want to be able to keep those. I will give credit to the hotel here. Is the Wi-Fi still bad, Preston? The Wi-Fi is better today. This place has a hell of an air conditioner because it is hot outside. It is steamy, but inside it is. I don't know. Walking back down there to where the media meals are, about 67, 66 degrees, something like that. Ridiculous. So I love a place with good air conditioning.
Amen.
One of the greatest inventions of all time, up there with fire and the wheel, air conditioning. Once they invented fire, we needed air conditioning. So All right, we got another hour to go here. We're going to visit with our good friend Doug Amos and talk a little Auburn football. We get into more than just Auburn football in that interview. So we will do that next when we come back. And then following that, we have time for your phone calls and your texts. Appreciate all the texts that are coming in today. So we'd love to hear from you right here on the Middle of the Day show. I'm in today for Landers Chevrolet of Norman. They've got no interest for 5 years. That's a ridiculous amount of time. You can visit them online and see some of the deals that they have at LandersChevroletNorman.com. Up to $12,250 off MSRP on the new models of Silverados. They also have the 27 Equinox, $2,500 off MSRP. So great deals going on there. Also, thanks to Mako of Norman. And if your car has any bumps and bruises, they're there to take care of you. All kinds of great plans for you. 405-368-1638 is the number to call. Mention the Sports Animal. You get 10% off. More of the Middle of the Day show from Tampa coming up next.
The Sports Animal.
from 107.5 The Ticket in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm jealous for your setup again, man. You still have you got the picture.
Yeah.
You got the big setup down there, all the marketing. And, when we met, we had candy at the table.
We did.
This
And where
year we
is
don't
it?
have candy at the table.
Mark.
It's all Preston's fault.
Preston, get with the program, man. It brought people to OKC with
You had red eye gravy lately?
Yeah, I have not had red eye gravy. I don't think since I've lived in Alabama.
I like the white gravy, just a little sausage in there. That's probably my favorite. I mean, he said it was going to take me to a place I've had the best breakfast I've ever had. I'd be honest with you, I don't know what. I mean, like the kinds of steak that I've had in my life. I've had some that are much better than others, but just like an omelet, I mean, not very much range in the taste of that. It usually is pretty good.
Well, they just got better chickens, I think, producing better eggs in South Alabama.
It's possible. I know we got chickens in Ybor City, that's for sure. We got plenty of them. We'll be looking for some eggs tonight. Maybe go on an egg hunt of our own. So, okay, recapping everything that we've talked about today. Here, the teams that are the Tuesday participants in SEC Media Day: Georgia, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, and Auburn. One more coach will take the podium a little bit later on this afternoon. The three have already been there so far today. So I got JMO. I think at the top of the league, I think you have to show some respect for Georgia as the league winner. Improved running game. It got better over the course of last season. They bring back some of those offensive linemen. They have a quarterback that's been around that I think is seeing plenty of SEC experience. Their schedule is conducive to winning the league. At Alabama, toughest game. On the road, Oklahoma at home early in the season. They have not come out of the gate super strong in the last couple of years, but I think this is a little bit different because of the experience that they have on offense. Kirby Smart mentioned it in some of the stuff that we played from him from the podium. Not as many sacks for the Georgia defense as that they had when they were winning the national championship. But I still think that defense is good enough. But that ought to be a big-time showdown for the Sooners early in the season at Georgia. If Oklahoma would win that game, I think they vault themselves into the position of, for sure, getting a spot in the SEC championship game if they can win that one. At Ole Miss, second toughest road game, I think is manageable, especially by the end of the season. I think people have questions about Ole Miss. Pete Golding taking over for Lane Kiffin. A lot of departures from that team of guys that were good players on both sides of the offensive and defensive line. So I think that's a question for Ole Miss. South Carolina, man, what a difference. What a difference that 1 year makes. They just missed the college football playoff in the 2024 season. 2025 season, they win 4 games, 4-8. We'll hear a little bit more from on South Carolina from our good friend Terry Ford that covers the team for the game in Columbia. I think they've made a great move. They've hired Kendall Briles as the offensive coordinator. That is a massive, massive step up from Mike Shula. Kendall Briles has the same kind of coaching philosophy as his dad. You're going to split guys wide from sideline to sideline. You're going to open up the field. I think that serves very well for Lenore Sellers.
They've been talking about that offense all day on TV, and they said they returned 9 of the 11 starters, including Sellers, like you just said. I don't know. Is it good to return 9 starters from a 4-win football team? I guess when you get a new offensive coordinator, it might be.
I think it is. If you have, if your offensive line, I mean, it absolutely is for sure in the case of Lenore Sellers and Nick Harper. Nick Harper is an Olympic athlete trying to play football. If he can catch some passes and become a little bit better at running routes and the things that go into making you a good wide receiver rather than just a great athlete, then I think that will help a lot. But I'm just telling you, you go from Mike Shula to Kendall Briles, and I think you've made a really, really good hire. And they spent a lot of money on that. I think if Beamer to pay an offensive coordinator $2 million, I mean, you better score some points. They just don't have. I think it's a tough place to win. I mean, you're battling not only you have a horrendous schedule, but you're battling Clemson for in-state recruits. You're battling Georgia, Tennessee, who are right on your doorstep for star players. They've got a great fan base at South Carolina, and I think we've made the comparison at Big 12 Media Days to West Virginia and South Carolina. There are no professional sports franchises in either one of those states. And so when you have a good college football team, the entire state is behind you. I don't believe there is any kind of West Virginia state. There is a South Carolina state. And I think the South Carolina fans do, have a little bit of envy of Clemson. But they have not won a conference championship, I think, in the history of their program. It may go back 60 years or 65 years, and South Carolina won an ACC championship, but they have not won an SEC championship.
How much?
They've had elite coaching. I mean, there's Steve Spurrier there for a while, and he got them to be pretty good. Got them to be relevant and playing. And I think they played in one championship game, but didn't win it.
How much do you think being a school like South Carolina, that probably, like with all those factors you just said, Tennessee, Clemson being in state, all those things, probably has to rely heavily on a good transfer portal class? Do you think the volatility going from 9 wins to 4 wins, let's say they jump back up again, how much of it do you think has to do with the fact that they're depending on whether or not they get a good transfer class in there, or is it just having a hard schedule in the SEC?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, some of these guys that they've had on the roster have been homegrown talent. You don't want to waste a guy like Lenora Sellers, with having him on campus for 3 seasons. And I think people thought he was going to go in the draft this past year, but it didn't materialize because didn't have a whole lot of help around him. I don't know. I don't know that you can go out and attract a great portal class every year. Because I think more and more what Jim Nagy said yesterday, what Kirby Smart and those guys practice, is that you want to have a very good high school class. You want to build high school classes on top of high school classes. And if you have an area of need, you can go out and find it in the portal. But I think we will see less and less of teams just paying big money in the portal. Like Tech does it. And I don't know how many other schools can sustain that, is if we lose guys, we're going to go out and replace them with expensive players in the portal. You'd rather just, we give you some money to come in to be on our roster from high school. You played a little bit. And that was the thing, too, yesterday with Oklahoma, is that, hey, Taylor Wine, he was a guy that asked for more money. And Venables said, don't have it. You're going to have to prove that you can play. And I don't think that if you've got a freshman, it's much easier to retain them if they haven't gone out there and made big plays than it is if they've gone out and showed that they're, a good player and can become a star. So it's a tough road to go, but I think you're paying less to keep guys than you are to bring in new guys.
Well, that's basically what Kirby Smart said today on the stage. You referenced that too, is he was talking about how they're blessed by having all these professional, like as many as any other state, I believe is what he said, pro NFL players come out of the state of Georgia, and they're the game in town where people, kind of like LSU has always been, where the kids in Georgia and then in North Florida, they want to go play at Georgia. Texas Tech might not have that. From my experience at Texas Tech, unless things have changed drastically, Texas Tech does not have the luxury of feeding in-state talent that just want to go be Red Raiders in Lubbock, Texas.
Unless they start winning,
I guess that would be the significant change, yeah. Like Florida State always got all the guys in Florida when it was just breeding out talent, and then all of a sudden Urban Meyer gets down there, and now they all want to go down to Gainesville.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, Texas kind of, I don't know, they're making a case for the chicken and the egg, that they're making the case for the chicken, right? I mean, that they're trying to build a success, and then hopefully a lot of people show up.
That chicken makes great omelets, Mark.
The chicken does make great omelets. It does. I don't like the chicken inside of it, but I like what the chicken does with the egg. And then the other 2 teams today, again, that we've talked about, Vanderbilt and Auburn. Vanderbilt is going to have all kinds of questions to ask, and I'm sure Clark Lee has been asked by anybody that's talked to him today, is what's life going to be like without Diego Pavia. So I think that it's probably trending a little bit down for them. I think Auburn, the football guys, very upset with their hiring a few frees. I think they've rectified that with Alex Golish coming in, bringing a quarterback that I think is better than what they've had at that position in the past 5 to 6 years. So I see Auburn in the middle of the pack team in the SEC. I see Vanderbilt kind of in the lower end of the pack of the SEC. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back and we'll talk a little Thunder. Continue to get some questions on the text line about the Lou Dort trade. Some kind of fascinating things going on with Sam Presti talking to the local media to try to explain that trade. A lot of theories about that. So I've got a little theory of my own. And we're still on LeBron watch. Rich Paul said it could be 48 seconds. It could be 48 minutes, 48 hours. I really don't give a rip what it's going to be. But at some point in time, we'll find out where LeBron James is going to play. And if the NBA schedule makers will wait on that, or if they have any kind of leak on what LeBron will do so they can showcase LeBron in his 24th season, what would be 24th and probably final season. We'll see on that. Thanks again to Landers Chevrolet of Norman. Thanks to Mako. Better call Mako, 405-368-1638. You can visit Landers Chevrolet of Norman online to see some of their great deals that they've got going on right now. 5 years, no interest on certain models on the lot at Landers, located on Ed Noble Parkway. 2027 Equinox is here, the brand new one. Take $2,500 off MSRP. No interest for 3 years. LandersChevroletNorman.com. Back with more from SEC Media Days here from Tampa, Florida. Stay tuned.
The 2026 college football countdown is on, and
It is the middle of the day show on a Tuesday here from SEC Media Days. Cruising through to being halfway home here in Tampa. Rest of the week, of course, the SEC has set it up for the final day to include both the University of Texas and LSU and Lane Kiffin. This is just an appetizer, warming up to what the fireworks could potentially be. Tomorrow, pretty good day, though. All squads that have high hopes for the season: Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. So we will be able to hear from those teams and those coaches. Thursday, Arkansas, Mississippi State, paired with Giants, LSU, and Texas. Hopefully we will hear from Jeff Lebby on Mississippi State's season. Although trying to get coaches to come down here to Radio Row is a pretty difficult situation for the most part.
Oh, Mark, well, then I got a really difficult task for you then, because I hear rumor on the SEC network that Nick Saban's going to be in Tampa tomorrow. That's a must get.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, I'm sure he's going to have a lot to say about the state of college football.
I'm sure.
And a guy that I think, man, I mean, it's hard to step away, I think, when you've been as successful as he is, but as much of a grinder as he was, what a great decision it appears for him. He's been great, I think, on TV. Comes across as just completely no nonsense. And he's been fun to watch on television. I would say maybe a bit more so than I had thought previously, just in terms of his coaching tenure. But some of those epic tantrums that he had as a coach were also very fun to watch. Very good. All right, 460 WWLS. Those are the numbers to call. Text line open to you. That is the Johnny's Charcoal Broiler text line. Jansen texted in on some of the ESPN decisions today.
Man, how about that?
Yeah, that's really, it's tough to see. And, you know, ESPN has a massive presence here. It just seems pretty convoluted the way that some of these guys were informed. Ryan Clark was working this morning, and they told him he had to go.
Yeah, he was on NFL Live when they told him, yeah.
Do you, if they tell you that, do you finish the segment before you go? Preston says no. I'm finishing the segment.
I think he did finish the segment, and then he just left during the show.
Is it really being handled that poorly?
Well, the reason that they gave is because a sports media reporter got a hold of the information, and I guess the guy warned them that he was going to report this. So if you haven't told him yet, he's going to hear about it this way. And so that's why they had to rush and tell him during NFL Live yesterday. Is what I can't remember. I wish I could credit the reporter, but the reporter that reported it said that that's what happened.
Yeah, that's rough. If there was a leak on all that stuff, I don't. You would think that you would get out in front of it if that information has been discussed enough to, you know. I mean, that's just part of this business. It sucks. It sucks for those guys. I mean, it happens everywhere. It's happened here. I'm sure it will continue to happen here. Carl Ravitch let go and found out through social media.
He did 3 baseball games this week on the network and travel. I guess it was Philadelphia twice, but still.
I'm not. I get it. I don't know. Is there a good way to do it? I mean, like if you're Carl Ravitch, do you call him in and say, "Hey, great run, 30 years plus, but we have to let you go." I guess finding out when it comes through a third party, especially if it's social media, there's embarrassment and kind of, all right, is there anything? Do I get any kind of severance package, or is there any kind of, you know, do you care? I mean, what's the reasoning behind that? I would think you're owed that by somebody.
Well, I know who the next phone call the MLB Network needs to make, though. I think that's an easy one because they already got Brian Kinney over there. They've already got Adnan over there. I feel like he'd be a good addition.
I think so. Well, I think so. I mean, it's, you know, ESPN is now managing the NFL Network. Ryan Clark, I like his personality. I think that he gets involved in some things that he doesn't need to get involved with as an analyst. What I'm looking for from him is his takes on football.
Yeah, I think it all started when he started wearing the lapel pin with his initials on it. That's when it all started going down.
He had his own logo.
Yeah, his own logo. I'm going, don't we all want our own logo? Mark, I'll make you a logo.
Okay, thanks. Have you ever messed around with the J and the Mo, or just like what you might come up with? I mean, you got the M, and so you could have like a mountain, feature to it.
I'll think about it. Maybe by the end of the year, I'll have my own lapel logo that I can tout out there.
I think that'd be cool. I think that certainly shows that you're moving up in the world if you got your own logo.
Well, if you don't believe it, who will? That's what that's what Will Stein said.
He's got to do it. It's him. He is the reason that they're going to have success. So, he believes that. But that's about it. I mean, again, there's just a little NBA news, sad stuff for the people at ESPN. So hopefully that won't affect a whole lot of more people. But they're spending a lot of money to buy rights. And so that's the way that this the business is going. So, all right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got one more segment to go. Gideon is in today for Jim, I believe. Have we heard from Jim? I've not heard from Jim. Not one text.
Oh, he's posted some beautiful pictures, Mark.
On Instagram?
That's right.
Not much of an Instagram guy. So I haven't seen those pictures. Jim told me one time, I asked him about, going to Montana or visiting some of those big sky country states. And he looked at me and he was like, I could give a rip about seeing that part of the country. Like, I have no desire. The mountains, that stuff does nothing for me. And here we are in 2026. The ultimate is driving through that part of the country. I like a good road trip. What do you think what is the proper road trip mileage that you feel comfortable with?
Mileage? Well, I can give you like an amount of time. Like, I drove to Minneapolis once for a Final Four. That was from Memphis. That was brutal.
Memphis to Minneapolis is not, you don't have to go too far though. That's probably 9 hours.
Oh no, it's about 12 hours.
12 hours?
Uh-huh.
Were you pedaling?
Yeah, for half of the time I was pedaling.
Memphis to Minneapolis. Hold on. I trust you.
Well, yeah, you might not want to because, I've done a lot in my day. But I'm pretty sure it was 12 hours.
12 hours and 19 minutes. Good call. 12 hours is that you get in the car at 6 and you're not there till 6. That to me is a little long for a road trip. That's when you need to get in the plane. 8 hours, if you get up at and I like to start the day and get the drive going so I can spend some time at my destination. And usually the drive out is fine, but the drive back is what really sucks. So you get up and you say you're leaving Oklahoma City at 6 a.m, 8-hour drive. You're there at 2 p.m. That encompasses. You can get Oklahoma City to Memphis 8 hours, maybe a little less than that. Oklahoma City to Houston, San Antonio, Austin, any of those places, 8 hours. I think that's the number. I think 8 hours it's far enough, but not too far for a road trip. Anything over 8 hours.
Yeah, I could do 9 or 10, but that's basically the same ballpark,
580 just finished one-way trip to Anaheim.
Oh, see the Ducks play. I guess not this time of year. You don't see the Ducks play. You see the Angels play.
The Angels and the Cardinals are playing right now. I've driven in a car over 18 hours before. Not that. That's too far. Much better than it's much better to take a plane. This from the 513 prefix. Road trips are subjective. The wife and I don't blink at 10 to 12 hours. Well, good for you, sir. It's a long way. Pitkin, Colorado to Stillwater on Sunday, 12 hours. Pitkin, Colorado is where Crested Butte is, or it's very close to Crested Butte. You're driving on some highways there that you can't go very fast.
Well, that's the thing about Colorado is it doesn't take too long to actually get to Colorado, but once you get to Colorado, if you're going to like the west side of Colorado, you got to drive through the mountains, which takes forever to get through the mountains.
Do you go over the mountains, Preston, or do you go around the mountains?
You go through them.
It's right
Wow. Over the top. How about that?
Driven to and from Destin, 14 hours. I think a lot of people vacation in Destin or like Gulf Shores. 14 hours. Get yourself on the plane. Get yourself on the plane. Too far.
When I was in college playing basketball at Birmingham Southern College in Alabama, shout out Panthers, we took a road trip on an overnight bus to New York City. So we're driving through like Marshall and West Virginia and all that kind of stuff. That was, I mean, you sleep during the night, but that was a unbelievably long bus.
So you like got on the bus at 10 o'clock?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you got there at 10?
Yeah, I guess it was 12 or 14 hours, maybe. It was pretty long. It felt like it was long, but I slept through most of it. You know, it's one of those nice sleeper buses. They got all the beds. You get the whole team on there. How about that? That's Division III travel for you.
I would equate where Preston and I are sleeping to just about like a bus.
Oh, you're getting to know each other pretty well in there.
We're not sleeping together. Trust me. We have our own rooms, but the beds are twin beds, and the mattresses are something that they, I think, bought off a prison.
Wow.
I woke up last night and both legs had vapor locked. I had cramped up. It was really bad.
They got that big case of waters behind you, Mark. I'm sure they got electrolytes in
I've got a water right now. I don't think it's not that I had too little water. It's just that it was just the rock that we were laying on. So I'm going to seek out and potentially find an IV today. If not, we may have to amputate my legs. Suboptimal.
I would say so.
Okay, quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up here today from SEC Media Today. I think I'm going to join Sam a little bit later on tonight. Gideon will take you through the rest of the afternoon. Tram is going to join at 4:40. I think he did explain his travel malady. We've all had it great. He had an unplanned 4.5-hour road trip from Miami in an Uber. That's an expensive drive. Didn't even get to see the beauty of Alligator Alley during the daytime. So we will return with more right here in for Lander Chevrolet today on WWLS, the Sports Animal.
Click on the
I feel like we need to let the band build to that crescendo.
Oh, you nailed it. That was a great tease by you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Here at SEC Media Days, winding down day 2, so halfway home. And then again tomorrow, as we talked about, Ole Miss, A&M, Florida, and Alabama. Can you wait to see what kind of production the Texas Ags has tomorrow right across from us? Their podcast?
Oh, the Fighting Texas Ags.
They've got they'll be going.
Thanks to the Fighting Texas Ags, I actually call all of the Aggie schools. I guess there's only one other I can think of, but it's the Fighting New Mexico Ags. You don't call them New Mexico State. You don't put them down that way. They're the same as the other New Mexico school. It's the Fighting New Mexico Ags.
Hey, that's a game that OU has late in the year. A&M hasn't been to Norman in quite a while. Rebuilding a little bit in the offensive line. I think they had a good football coach, though.
Yeah, I like Mike Elko a lot.
Will they send all the weirdos with them from College Station?
Oh, that's rude. I'm sorry to our Aggie listeners. That's really upsetting, Preston.
Yeah, Aggie Dave is not going to like that.
Aggie Dave has been texting throughout the day.
Mark, you were talking about South Carolina. That's actually South Carolina's homecoming game this year is Texas A&M coming to town there. That's going to be a tough one.
Well, that one sets up to me to be a one that South Carolina wins. I mean, South Carolina, as well as they play the year before, they will have a ton of extra motivation for that game at home. I feel pretty good about that for them. I think that's one that they could get.
Should be noted A&M's coming off a bye the week before, too. So I don't know if that negates the homecoming prowess, but nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a team that I think could kind of A&M and Ole Miss are teams that OU plays at home late in the season, games that could go either way. It is too bad that the SEC, they don't show a lot of respect for the visiting bands. Like they make you bring a smaller band and you sit in a certain spot. That used to, I think that they would let, if the A&M was playing in Stillwater or Norman, they let the Fighting Texas Aggie band march up and down the field in that formation that they do. You want to see the ultimate excited, just show him a halftime performance of the A&M band.
Really? Is A&M notable for their great band? I did not know that.
Oh, JMO. You got to Google it up. I think
machine?
most traditional marching bands that march in kind of like they do movements and all that kind of stuff, they don't participate. They don't really, for the military marching style of the A&M band, I don't think they have a lot of respect for it. But no, it's fantastic. You must not pass go until you have watched the videos of the Fighting Texas Aggie band.
Great outfits they got on. And they also have to wear a badge. They call it a lyre. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's something else.
Yeah, I don't know.
Everything you guys have just described to me is cultish.
Fair. I don't think they're even backing away from that. I don't mind.
I want to be a yell leader. I've got some yell leader Fighting Texas Aggies. Happy birthday, Preston. They do stuff like that too. And I'm doing the old hand gestures here in the studio. Not good for the radio audience, I don't think.
That is too far, JMO. Way too far.
Have you ever been to Midnight Yell?
No, I never have before.
I wouldn't. I don't attend cult meetings, so I would not be going.
Oh, I've been to a few of them. They're worth going to. You got to go once. You got to go see it one time. Dude,
I'd go back and back again. I'm all in for it. But no, I like the vibe A&M throws out there. You know, there's enough room for all the Texas schools, the Texas Techs, the A&M, the Texas. No room for Baylor, I don't think, but I like TCU.
I mean, you could go to Northgate at College Station, have a few beers, have more than a few beers, stumble over to the Midnight Yell, and go home and get ready for the game the next day.
Mark, I wanted to ask you, not to change the subject off A&M, but you mentioned A&M and Ole Miss both being tough home games potentially for for OU down the stretch here. How much stock, if any, I mean, maybe it's just because it's happening right now that I'm excited about it. How much stock do you put in the job that I'm blanking on the fellow's name, the new coach at Ole Miss?
Pete Golding.
Yeah, Pete Golden. Thank you. How much stock do you put in the performance that he has when he comes to media days?
He should be good. I think he should be good. Why not?
Well, I mean, you got the whole Matt Luke effect, like they kind of did this once before when they hired Matt Luke, and that didn't go very well.
I mean, Pete Golding's not necessarily just an Ole Miss guy. I mean, I know he was promoted, but he's been at Alabama. I don't know what Ole Miss is expecting, right? I mean, like if you're in the business of Lane Kiffin, you're getting pictures posted of being at yoga, and you're walking on a fine line of who knows what. Obviously, he develops quarterbacks. He's got a reputation for having great offenses. But what's weird about that is that the quarterback that they thought was going to be their good quarterback is now at Missouri. I mean, it was a great find to have Trinidad Chambliss on campus after it didn't work out with Austin Simmons. Last year, we're talking about when Austin Simmons gets hurt in the Arkansas game, that's going to be a detriment for Ole Miss. It was anything but. No, it kind of propelled them on. So
they did a whole segment on TV earlier about the fact that Trinidad could win the Heisman. And they got a great tandem with Kawan Lacey as well.
Okay. It says, I want to be a yell leader. Quote, ladies and gentlemen, we have lost J-Mo. I thought the exact same thing. When I close my eyes tonight on the rock hard bed, I am not going to wish that I was a yell leader.
Oh, I want to get up there and I want to tell those stories. I want to tell the story about the guy that walked into the gun shop. I'm having trouble retaining all of the stories that they yell, but they have this simple ones about how the opposing fan is an idiot. Like the Mississippi State ones always ring true to me. They always make fun of the Mississippi State fans because they're idiots and they don't know what they're buying when they go to the gun shop. I'm all in. I'm a performer after all, Mark. Put me in front of a crowd. I could gab.
Are they stories or are they fairy tales?
Oh, you call them whatever you want. Hey, don't knock a fairy tale. A fairy tale is a great version of a story. They last for eons, fairy tales do. So I'm all in.
Can't stand the Ags, but their band is legit. That's coming in from the 580 area code. So A&M band is great, said Darren, when they're marching in close formation and making tight turns. Very cool. I agree with that. It is very cool. All right, that's it for us today. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage. SEC Mike is going to join us tomorrow, courtesy of Preston. So we will that SEC podcast, very famous. We will talk to those guys and have much more coverage of the four teams tomorrow: Alabama, Florida, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. Thanks again to Landers Chevrolet of Norman, LandersChevroletNorman.com. Also, thanks to Mako. 10% off if you mention the sports animal. So make sure you get in and see my guy, Ronnie Christopher. If your car needs any kind of maintenance, if it needs fixed, refinished, Mako is the people to get it done in Norman. See you tomorrow here from SEC Media Days.
Tap in with the